Welcome everyone to HueFin News. Today is the last day of July 2019. Here to give you all the news according to the charts and making sure that the articles that we come across, that they're not trying to trick us and that they're not trying to persuade us to think a certain way, because the price charts from our perspective is the truth. And we're here to show you all that today with this article talking about beware of crypto assets. They lack intrinsic value. Okay, you tell me that, but then when I look at these price charts for Bitcoin, it is telling me something different. So we're going to digest what this article is talking about and then make sure we get the same depiction and picture off of the price chart for Bitcoin. Thank you all for coming to our channel. Make sure you guys continue to support us by liking and sharing the video, subscribing to our channel as well. If you want to have more information about how we're able to forecast price movement without confusing you, definitely check us out at our website at HueFinancial.com. That is definitely our mission, is to show you and teach you all how you can also gain this Bitcoin out the market without mining. So now let's see what's going on with this article. It just came out about 3 minutes ago. I went ahead and grabbed it, and I thought it would be a good thing for us to talk about how we are seeing so-called regulators. This one is talking about United Kingdom regulators telling people that crypto assets lack intrinsic value. Well, then the question becomes, why is it considered an asset? All throughout school, we've been taught that assets are good things and liabilities are bad things. So even in the title of this article, it is causing one some confusion. And then you got to ask yourself the next question: what is the meaning of intrinsic value? If you put in those two words in a Google search engine, you'll come up with a lot of links to websites that's trying to dispel that definition. So we're going to look at a philosophical definition of intrinsic value, and maybe that might give you a little bit clearer picture as to why Bitcoin in fact does have intrinsic value. Now, the United Kingdom Financial Conduct Authority has issued out some guidelines for the cryptocurrency space. They state that digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum have no intrinsic value and therefore offer a high level of risk. What about stocks? Do stocks have intrinsic value? They have a lot of risk. That's why when you have a margin account for these many stock exchanges, they want you to have enough money in your account to cover your choices that you make in your trades. The FCA guidelines are there to help crypto firms remain compliant. Now, as a report in Reuters today, the FCA has issued guidelines for firms working in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry. In a statement accompanying the document, the regulators say, quote, "This will allow firms to have a better understanding of whether they need to be authorized and what they need to do to ensure they are compliant. Compliant with who? Cryptocurrency is unregulatable. You cannot hold this technology down. So who are you referring to that these firms have to be compliant? Now, the business structure of these firms definitely will need to be regulated, but the services that they provide regarding the actual cryptocurrency itself cannot be regulated. The guidelines come as regulators around the world try to speed up their efforts to apply existing regulations to the industry. Cryptocurrencies are a whole new beast. You cannot take old regulations and try to implement it on a new technology or innovation like cryptocurrencies, they will have to go all the way back to the drawing board to make sure that they can come up with new frameworks to govern the emerging asset class. Again, that goes back to the title of this article. Assets are good things, liabilities are bad things. So how are you telling us to beware of cryptos? Adding a real sense of urgency to the task of global regulators is the plans detailed by Facebook to launch its own digital currency last month, the Libra. As it will be known, has faced such intense regulatory scrutiny already that the firm now has doubts over whether it will launch by 2020 as it previously stated. The reason why they are reaching so much scrutiny across the world with this regulators is because they're trying to create a cryptocurrency with fiat backing the currency. Even these regulators understand that fiat currency is not stable. Specifically, when you have each of those fiat currencies vying for dominant position amongst the other ones. You cannot have all these baskets of fiat paper and think that the currency is going to maintain its stability. What do you think your cryptocurrency is going to do? It would have been better for Facebook just to create its Libra off of the viability of their company or from the other partners that they have creating the group for Libra. Just like they do in the stock market. They issue out shares for the company. Well, instead of shares, issue out cryptocurrencies that can be used across the world. And you won't have to worry about a lot of the scrutiny that Facebook has been receiving across the world. The guidelines specifically state that cryptocurrency assets like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum are exempt. There you go, right there, exempt from the United Kingdom's existing regulators and therefore do not need to register with the FCA. Of course they are exempt. You cannot regulate cryptocurrencies. The world knows that. So now what they're going to do, they're going to try to drum up and come up with some new regulations across cryptocurrencies itself. Okay. Now they did issue a statement. I'm not going to even tell you the word warning. They issued a statement to investors in the United Kingdom. Consumers should be cautious when investing in such crypto assets and should ensure they understand and can bear the risk involved with assets that have no intrinsic value. You can look at the price chart right now and tell that Bitcoin has some type of intrinsic value, because if it didn't, it'll be going down to zero. I like this part right here in this article right here. Interestingly, the FCA does not issue a similar warning about the pound sterling. Although the UK's fiat currency is backed by a government, I guess they're talking about the war drums. It is currently backed by a government that has not voted into power by the public. But they tell you to use the pound sterling every day in your daily commerce. The FCA neglects to admit that Bitcoin is backed by something. There you go. The intrinsic value has been disclosed right here in this article, and it is right here. It's backed by computer science and cryptography. It's also been reliably working for its users longer than almost any democratically elected government on the planet. FCA's choice to use the words intrinsic value is interesting, particularly given the fact that they would apparently rather see the public's money rapidly devalue at the hands of a prime minister they did not vote for, with savings sitting in pounds in the bank that is more likely than not to have played a part in the 2008 economic meltdown that inspired Bitcoin and other crypto assets' very creation. It is very funny how the fiat currency of the world continues to devalue, but yet and still they want you to use it. Yet and still they want you to place your money into savings accounts when the governments of the world continue to print this paper. Hence, you're not saving. You're better off spending that money because it is not going to do you any compounding and interest that is worthwhile, especially when you consider inflation. And then you got to think about all the many bailouts that occurred in 2008 from the bad economic decisions of the individuals who operate in certain financial institutions. They got bailed out off of the backing of the government by their mistakes, but they want to say that Bitcoin and other crypto assets has no value. This is the main reason why it became what it is today, is because people are losing their trust in the government. Speaking of the fiat currency having value. Look at the debt situation that's going on across the globe. Italy is in debt crisis. Deutsche Bank is about to go under. The Greek crisis that happened a couple of years ago. Venezuela economy is collapsing right now. America continues to go further and further and further in debt, and yet and still you want to come out and these regulators want to tell people that crypto assets lack intrinsic value, so therefore don't invest in it. Then why do you have a multi-trillion-dollar forex exchange going on across the globe when in fact those papers don't have any intrinsic value neither? It's built off the fact that you and I will go and use this money throughout our daily course of life. What if we just switch that over to Bitcoin? That would definitely revolutionize the way that we see life. Okay. So what I wanted to do as well, I want us all to try to get an answer to the definition of what does intrinsic value mean. So we had to go to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. There's many other definitions, but I think this one serves its purpose as to why Bitcoin has intrinsic value. Okay. Now, this is the definition right here. The intrinsic value of something is said to be the value that that thing has in itself, or for its own sake, or as such, or in its own right. Bitcoin, does it fit any of those in itself? Does it have value in itself? And as that article talked about, it does, based off cryptography and computer science. There's many other theories also that hold that what it is right or wrong to do has at least in part to do with intrinsic value of the consequences of the actions one can perform. Bitcoin is performing actions without human intervention. It's a program. It'll run as long as it has nodes to create the hash rate to formulate these transactions. It will do what it needs to do without human interaction, as long as there are computers on the network generating these hash power to create these Bitcoins. Okay. A little bit further down, I wanted to talk about what is intrinsic value. You need to focus on what it means to say that something is valuable for its own sake. Is Bitcoin valuable for its own sake, as opposed to being valuable for the sake of something else to which it has related in some way? Is fiat currency intrinsic or is it extrinsic? For the sake of something else would definitely fall under fiat currency, because people are using this form of money to create commerce. But for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space as a whole, is going to revolutionize the Internet of Things, to where the communication point between electronics will happen on a regular basis without the intervention of humans. That is intrinsic. For its own sake, these computers, these electronics that we use on a daily basis, will finally communicate once amongst themselves without us doing anything. That is intrinsic. For its own sake, it creates value for its own sake, for the purposes of these electronics communicating. We are just touching the surface of this new realm of innovation. Sooner or later, we will be able to see robots communicate once amongst another and trade and barter and sell and buy without us even being involved. We are on the dawn of a new age, and I don't think these regulators really realize that cryptocurrencies in fact do have intrinsic value for its own self, and it's in itself. Okay, in itself is where the intrinsic value comes for Bitcoin. It is in the protocol that makes Bitcoin valuable. Okay, that's the reason why Bitcoin is important and intrinsic. Now, some of the other cryptocurrencies I can't speak for. Okay, but definitely this space has some real great gems to where this intrinsic value will increase insurmountably. Okay, so just definitely keep your eyes open when you see these type of articles, because a lot of these regulators don't want to see the old way of things being done eradicated. They're losing control of what they once had domination over the masses of people. They're now losing the reins of that with this innovation of cryptocurrencies. So now, before I go, as always, I want to talk about the price chart and see if Bitcoin, according to the price chart, is giving us intrinsic value. So let me zoom out a little bit and show you all how intrinsic Bitcoin has been getting. You can see all the way back here on this chart from 2013, how something that had no value all of a sudden hit $20,000 in 2017 and currently hit $14,000 this year alone. If crypto assets like Bitcoin wasn't valuable, if it didn't have intrinsic value, then why will it be trading the way it's been trading? That's the question that the regulators need to answer, because computer science and the protocol that creates Bitcoin is in fact the value. It does not allow us to have a third party that we need to trust in order to do commerce. This is it. That's why it has intrinsic value. So now let me give you all an update from what we said for Bitcoin, and right now it is definitely going against us. The market right here on the 28th of July came and touched $9,200. We was expecting that to try to happen again, but even since the last day we did our video, I think it was about a day ago, we did our video for Bitcoin, and it continues to shoot high in price. All right, now I'm gonna keep this price target here because the market really isn't moving in Bitcoin right now. Okay, yes, we are in a losing position, but you don't lose until you get out the market. All right, So what I'm expecting is Bitcoin to really hold some more consolidation of trading. I really won't change my analysis until I see Bitcoin crack that $10,400 price to the upside. That's why we're going to keep this price target ongoing in the market for Bitcoin. Okay, because I don't think the market is done with lower prices. So I just wanted to give you all an update on our price chart for Bitcoin. And also let's see if this article is transitioning over to the price chart, which it is not. Okay. Crypto assets do have intrinsic value and you do not need to be aware of it. You need to be aware of the money that is in your bank account, because it is there that you can lose access to your funds. Beware of that. When you invest in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, you can take your money with you wherever you go, across so-called borders, without restriction. That is powerful. When somebody has control of your money, they have control of your life. Don't forget that. Thank you all for visiting us today. If you appreciate the video and content, like I said earlier, make sure you guys go ahead and continue to like and share, subscribe to our channel, and as well as check us out at our website, HueFinancial.com. Make sure y'all maintain your profitability, and I will talk to y'all later.